We're joined now by former Tipperary hurler and all-star.
I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna jump out and jump back in and make it 3 tip tops in a row. Give me 2 seconds.
Off you go. So, Shane, how's things? Jeez, you're off on holidays, but sure, is that a Bocca jersey I'm seeing? Bocca Juniors?
Yeah, it's Bocca, Shane. Yeah, it's as good as it gets now with the blue with blue and gold. But yeah, we're in it with pride off here in the south of France at the moment with my wife Joanne and the 3 kids. So yeah, we were very disappointed with that to be at the match tonight. We're actually at all the matches there this year, and we brought all the lads to them as well. And the minor matches and the under 20 matches, even, I think they're a lovely thing to be able to take the kids to, because they're not as, it's not as many people at them, it's not as crazy. And the little fella now is nearly 6. Sean Og is his name, and he even sat down and watched a good bit of the match with me the other night, which is nice that he's getting into it now because of, I suppose he's getting into hurling, he's getting into Tipp because of the minors at the moment, which is great. But we have a few kind of vested interests in it, I suppose. My brother Cormac is one of the coaches there and has been for some time now, and is doing great work. Has coached them now to 2 All-Ireland minor titles and 2 Munsters, and was involved with Jamie Wall there to Fitzgibbon for a few years, Shane. So he's done good work there. He's I think he's obviously, I'm going to be a bit biased towards him, but I think he's going the right way about being a coach at maybe the very, very top level someday. So, and my brother Dara then is married to a girl called Holly O'Brien, and Holly is first cousins with Billy O'Brien, who scored that great goal. Will go down in folklore as well. So yeah, and sure, look, obviously I'm very, very good friends with Woody, with Foxy, and it might have got missed with all the mayhem tonight, but Cathal O'Reilly thanked the guy in the backroom team. He just called him Mando, and Mando, his real name is Alan Kelly. Called Mando because when we were in Flannans together, he had a resemblance. I think they felt his head has a resemblance to a mandarin orange. So there you go. That's how these nicknames stick like. So Mando be one of my very, very, very best friends now in the world, and he's the kit man. He's what Hot Pint was for a long time. He's that for the minors for the last couple of years, and I just suppose, look, we just had a lot of vested interest in it. The whole family were down there the other day, and as I said, look, we were very sad we couldn't be there, but we got to cheer him on here from France anyway. So yeah, one of the.
I was going to say, Shane, did you enjoy when your brother Cormac was berating the linesman over a sideline at one stage? Yeah,
look, I suppose Cormac would be like us all. We're all fairly thick when it comes to a lot of things. We grew up in the house, 4 minors, four brothers, and but none of us actually played minor for Tipp. I was a late bloomer myself. I was on the panel for a while, and maybe a couple of weeks out from the first match, got called into a dressing room, 5 or 6 of us, and I'll never forget to this day, 17 years of age, and you're told you're no longer wanted, and that's just the nature of the thing. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me in the long run, actually, because kind of just drove me on to do other things. But yeah, so we've seen Cormac getting ticked the other night. Yeah, we understood why. We've seen him doing that before several times at club level or at home, even in the kitchen. So that would be in him, and so not like Foxy to get booked. As I said, he's coaching like he was playing. He got booked and he was playing, and he got booked the other day as well. But I suppose both of you lads could understand maybe where the frustration was coming from with the lads, with everything that was on the line. I suppose a lot has been made of Tom Gleeson, the ref. And I suppose talking to several people who were at it, and you're trying to get different things. You're trying, when you're watching on, and as I said, your heart is in the game. You just feel that it's just all wrong. But even reading, Brian Gavin did a good article there today. I'm sure maybe you read it as well, Mick. Maybe did you that about what he felt. I think Darragh O'Hora can't be too upset maybe with his red, although it wasn't intentional. It probably was a red by the letter of law, but even Brian Gavin was scratching his head as to how the first one, Killian Minogue's red, was a red. And maybe I think that's where a lot of the frustration lay, lads. I don't know what your feelings are on it. Killian Minogue, I had his brother Dara as a minor, and both of them, I wouldn't say they've ever got booked, let alone sent off. They want to go out and hurl. But yeah, sure, look. And I suppose all those things added up, lads, to what was, look, I don't want to overblow it, but maybe one of the best All-Irelands Tipp have won in hurling context for everything that went on. Like, so
I honestly don't think you can overblow it enough, to be honest with you. To win an All-Ireland playing with 13 for the guts of an hour is absolutely extraordinary. It was amazing to watch, lads. And as I said on Twitter, I was actually behind Tipp, which has never happened. It's a 24-hour thing. I woke up the next morning, had a good shower, and left it in the past. But boys, you could not but help get behind the way they were playing and all the adversity. And just on the first red, like, to me, unless a referee sees that and it's a 6-month job, a lad needs to get 3 months suspension or something for absolutely killing a fella, you cannot send off a lad in an All-Ireland final for that when you didn't actually see it yourself and you're taking the linesman's word. I think it's too big of a call. It's too big of a call to make without having seen it yourself.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to come for the ref here or anything like that, and maybe he got word from the linesman and all that kind of stuff, which is what has been suggested all the time. But I look at this final, and Tipperary away from home in Nolan Park, and you're getting a red card like that early days, makes it unbelievably hard. And I think there's a butterfly effect in terms of the second one, which, it's hard to defend the tackle there, and, fair enough. But would that situation have ever occurred if Tipp weren't down a men and you had a lad kind of making a long run to get in there? The butterfly effect, that things don't pan out that way, and maybe that second incident would have never happened. But then I go back to the Celtic Challenge final maybe a month or so ago. Maybe you saw it as well, Shane. Tipperary entered 2 teams into this, Tipperary Gold and Blue got to the final against the Kilkenny team, which was their only team. And, there was a ridiculously soft red card in there. And I'm looking at it and thinking, like, kids on a big stage here being sent off for minimal stuff. I don't know, Michael, you're the neutral here. I mean, I just found it, mad.
Yeah, I just thought the point that Niall Moore made on Thursday's show is very valid. Like, you have young fellas front and centre on TV now, and even on Clover or whatever it is. And, like, for a fella like that to be, particularly with the first one, to be sent off, and for the eyes of a nation to be looking at you, and to be sent off in the wrong, like, it might be, like, the Kilkenny players' reaction, as in no reaction, will tell you what was in that, to be honest with you. Like, and I thought it was mad now. But Shane McGrath, I throw this to you. This is, like, how easy are we sending off players now in hurling? Like, 10 or 15 years ago, like, it was a different game. We're sending lads off for, like, 2 ticks or 2 yellows for, like, nothing now, really. It's crazy what you can get sent off for now in hurling.
Yeah, and I suppose the great world that is Twitter, lads. I like it as much as you do. I love it for sport, I really do. But I don't think I'd be on it only for sport. I just think that you just can't have an opinion on it. You can't just people coming at you, whatever you say. But, like, if that's striking, okay, and this is what I'm being told that the linesman informed her if there was a strike. If that's striking, like, he was caught up, like, in and to be fair to Bobby Brennan, he made nothing of it. And I have to say, lads, that's Kilkenny. That's the culture of Kilkenny hurling. Like, I go back to being involved in Ireland finals, and there was hits that be going on. And even go back to the thing with Benny that time and Tommy Welch. Like, Tommy Welch jumped up straight away. And that's what the Kilkenny lads did today. Bobby Brennan wasn't looking for anyone to be sent off the other day. And to be fair to him as well, Jack Dollard, he went down, like, but I mean, he got a fair old bang. I mean, they weren't looking for anyone to be sent off. So credit to them. And that's always the way of Kilkenny. And I always laugh when people say to me, like, because you be playing them so much, or, there was a good old rivalry there with us, you must hate Kilkenny lads the most. And I couldn't be further from the truth. All our group have nothing but respect for them Kilkenny lads, because that's what they did. They went out and hurled, and they were never trying to get anyone sent off. And that's obviously embedded in this minor team as well. But, like, what Killian Minogue did, he just got caught up with Bobby Brennan. He just kind of drew back to try and break away from a tackle. Like, we're going to see it. We'll see it 9 or 10 or 11 times at the weekend in Croke Park, like, and obviously it's down as a strike. Like, I mean, if that's what striking is now, like, are we going to see 3 or 4 lads sent off when the ball is thrown in there on Saturday or Sunday in Croke Park? Because, what will be going on there will be way, way worse. So I just think it's just I don't know. I just think the linesman, if he got it wrong, and then people saying, that he had to say it because the linesman told him, if he didn't see it himself, could he consult with the umpires? Maybe the linesman at the other side saw it. Maybe, as I said, the umpires down at that side might have seen it. But, I mean, just the guy that's in question as well, Killian Minogue, he just wouldn't be in him, you know what I mean, to be drawing a dirty stroke like that. But look, all those things, they all added up to, just, as I said, what a display it was afterwards. Now, if you don't have a bit of luck, I don't think, if you don't have luck, you've nothing in sport. And, like, after that, then, for when the 65 is taken and it drops short, Jake O'Doherty, the Kilkenny goalie, drops it in, and Tipp go in 1-5 to 1-5 at half time, and that's the lifeline they needed. Like they needed that, you know, they needed to go in with that and have a bit of a. The crowd got behind them. Everyone was behind them. As you said, the whole country was behind them. Mick, you know, I have bookmarked your tweet to say that you are shouting for Tipp. I will keep it for future reference. And
hey, I never said that. I never said that. No, I didn't say that. I was very careful not to say that. I was hoping I wasn't shouting for them.
Yeah, even a few Limerick people and stuff were saying, you know, I can't believe this, you're shouting for Tipp. But it's just, like, you have to say, like, the performance afterwards was just immense. I know the sending off was probably the big talking point, but at the end of the day, and again, I go back to the management team, like, a lot of people would have only heard Woody speak, like, on a national level for the first time the other day. But Shane, like, you know Woody, like, and Mick, you probably know him now from maybe talking to him down over the last years. The passion Woody has for hurling, that's been there all his life, like, since he was playing. And I was lucky enough to play midfield with him for a long time. And just the way Tipp, or the way that minor team are hurling is the way Woody would have played himself. He would have never give up. He would have always done his best. He would have had nothing but heart, passion, pride, all these old school things that maybe sometimes it gets lost in the world of sports science, but you need that, like, you need that pride, like, you know, and those boys had it, like, and I can tell you, you talk about fitness and S&C and stuff like that. I know for a fact, like, from knowing these lads, and, you know, obviously Conor being involved, the training that these boys did, and it's a credit to them as players as well as young lads, like, the way they stayed going, the S&C side of it as well, absolutely phenomenal stuff, like, you know, to keep going the way they did. I don't think any of the Tipp boys went down with cramp, and that's just a testament to the amount of training they've done. I think it's also a testament to the management of the life skills they've instilled in these boys now, in regards that, yeah, hurling, they've made them great hurlers, and to be able to win 2 minor titles with 2 completely different groups is a phenomenal achievement by the management team as well. But I suppose they've instilled life skills into them too, lads, like, haven't they? Like, as in, never give up, things are going against you. I think they were the best example of it the whole weekend, maybe, in sport, of, you know, never give up when things are going against you, keep going, keep fighting. Down in Nolan Park, all these things say Kilkenny were more physical. Woody said all these things. I'm just kind of reiterating what Woody said.
Hey, his post-match speech was great, because that was basically, his post-match speech was his speech in the dressing room. Like, it basically was, like, it was brilliant. You loved it, because it was just oozing with passion, and he was reaming it out, like, it was everything that he had used to help motivate the lads.
Look, and I'll be honest, I don't think there was too much roaring done in that dressing room, because it's not the characters of the boys. Like, if they felt they had to roar them, they would, and they have roared them, I'm sure, you know, in training and in certain games. But I just think the other day there was very little roaring done, because them boys knew what was on the line. They knew what had to be done. They knew they could do it. And again, I go back to, if I've watched it again now since as well, like, but like, their use of the ball was phenomenal, lads, for 16 and 17-year-olds. And obviously, look, this is easy to say as a Tipp person here, like, but the way they used that ball, the way they created that goal for Billy O'Brien, the way they used the space, they drew the man. There was rarely they were just lumping ball down there. They were working it to the line, and they knew they had to get it to a zone. And when they got it to a zone, they were trying to play as high quality ball as you can with 3 lads marking 1 lad for a majority of a second half. But like, it was phenomenal. Obviously, Kilkenny will look back and say the 18 wides were a killer. I know there was several Tipp lads were going to be man of the match, but like, for me, lads, the captain, Carl O'Reilly, was man of the match, in my opinion. I know Tiernan Ryan was immense. What he did, like, Jake Mullen is himself, and Ewan Murray, I just think are 2 talents we're going to hear a lot about in the future. Ewan Murray scored 4 points from play. He was just immense, and he has been all year. And if they're picking a minor hurler of the year, it just has to be this guy. There's no question, it has to be. But what Carl O'Reilly did on Jake Mullen, like, all above board, all on the ball, nice and fair, the hooks, the blocks. Liam Sheedy used to always say to us about putting on the overalls when you're going playing for Tipp, and he really did that and more. But held Jake Mullen to a point from play, and I think I'm right on that one now. Like, that was phenomenal. That was, like, being the captain, everything that went with it. I just think I thought he was immense. I thought they all were, and you know, I just think the way the development squads in your own county as well, Mick, like, we're not missing out on these small club players anymore now. And what I mean is, like, Dara O'Hora is from Salahead, and he gets to bring back an All-Ireland hurling medal back to Salahead. And like, maybe years ago, these players might have been missed because they might have been playing A hurling, or they might have been playing Harty hurling. But because of all these brilliant development squads in all the counties across the board, we're seeing the likes of the Salaheads, the likes of the Ballyluby, Castlegrace clubs. You know, Carrick are always going to have great hurlers, and they have in Stephen Tobin. But you just be so happy for these really small clubs and that they get to have, All-Ireland champions. Actually, they can go out and physically touch and meet All-Ireland champions now in their clubs, and maybe they don't have to go down to a bigger club down the road to meet them. Like, so those things are the real wins from the minor side of it as well. And yeah, sure, look, it was just everything and more, wasn't it? Like, really, for it all. I think it's been a great minor championship, lads. I really do. Thought the Tipp Galway game, the semi-final, was a brilliant game. Galway have some serious talent coming up too, and look, we've seen a lot of future stars. I also think the all stars for the minors are a great thing. I think it's a great recognition for them as well, and gives them a step up to the next level that we're going to see. So look, I was reading somewhere that a month is a long time in hurling. At the end of May, we didn't know what was going on. We were distraught, and I suppose now at the end of June, we're looking back going, great few days. The 20s did well. They got to an Ireland final. Lost to a much better Offaly team. There's no complaints there, but not that we're in a famine or anything like that. But as regards for my All-Ireland titles, but I mean, Tipp needed that, and I suppose it might help make that reconnection now, lads, with the fans and Tipp hurling going forward. It's just there was that we did have that disconnect. I think you'll agree, Shane. We've both been at matches in Thurles, and we've both. And we said this, Shane. Now, to be fair, we said this a long time. Even when Tipp were going well, there mightn't be huge crowds at the game. They might often be outnumbered. That wasn't just this year now. So I just think that maybe the Tipp supporters, if anything comes, if there's a reconnect with the Tipp supporters and Tipp hurling teams, maybe maybe that's what we'll see. But yeah, sure. Look, great few days. I know they had a great day in wherever they were yesterday. I got a couple of Snapchats, not too much, but I know they had a great day, the management and all of them together. Like,
yeah, and like, to be fair to the Tipp GAA, they put out a lot of stuff on social media in the days leading up to this. So to some degree, it feels like that was rewarded because there was a very strong vocal crowd. Like, I wasn't able to get down to it, but I was going absolutely insane watching it in the kitchen, like just screaming at the walls and everything. And like going through some of the players, you mentioned Carl O'Reilly, unbelievable. I hope you don't mind me mentioning Patrick Ryan, cornerback from Borris-Lee. He must have won 5 or 6.
He was immense, yeah. He was immense. The whole back line, yeah. Jeez, they were like, and even Darry English, like, Darry English in the goals for Tipp, like clearing that ball off the line in extra time. I do feel there was someone smiling down on them as well, but they kind of made their own luck with the way they played, but they did have that little bit of luck with the ball dropping in and getting that clearance off the line. And then you say, then the other side, it was like when Billy O'Brien hit the post, you're like, no, it's just not going to be the day. But look, the way they came back all the time. As I said, your own club, man. Even Jake Donlan Houlihan, he was nailing the freeze when the pressure was at its highest. But yeah, look, there was immense players on both sides. Look, it's great. Like, it's Tipp. People are like, we're probably a bit down at the moment at the top level, but when you see the likes of these guys coming through, you're just hoping, that we won't be down for too long anyway. So I'm sure Mick will be delighted.
David Ryan at wing back, the way he was coming out cool as a breeze, like you'd be nearly stressed watching how cool he is coming out with the ball, but he was brilliant all game. Adam Ryan, who I think is his cousin, unbelievable as a ball winner. I don't know how Billy O'Brien kept going. You already mentioned Ewan Murray, who's just a maestro. But Billy O'Brien with that Alan Tynan-esque little feint one way to sort of sell the dummy. Because of that, he hit the post and then later on the goal. I couldn't believe how he executed the goal, Shay. Like, it's very hard to even keep your cool watching, never mind being the guy after playing whatever it was, 80 minutes at that stage, and to finish that off was unbelievable. Yeah,
a little cheeky celebration afterwards by him. I think he's cousins with Barry Coffey. Barry Coffey, the soccer player, would say Barry being from Nina as well. I think he gave him a little tweet there, not sure about the celebration, but all those things are lovely. But look, fair play to him, as I said. I think when we think of minors, we just, three of us here will automatically think of lads who are 18 turning 19. But we are, being out in the field and having met these guys and met their parents afterwards and what they must be going through, you realise they are just kids really, like 16, 17 years of age, and to have the wherewithal, to have the confidence in himself after missing the one before, hit the post. And there's a man right outside him, probably in a better position. Yeah. But just to be able to take it on and nail it, it was. I think it goes back to the confidence. I think confidence the management have in him, and just to tell him to take it on. Make sure it goes dead. Have your shot. We look at Limerick they're taking 50, 52 shots when they're on song. And most teams now seem to, it's great to see like that you are telling players. I think the day of wides, lads, it's not a big deal anymore. Like, I think it's just take it on, but make sure it goes dead. Don't let them restart with a ball drop short. Take it on. If it goes wide, so be it. Run back out the field. Like, it's not a long time ago if you had a wide, geez, you'd be kicking yourself for the next 2-3 plays over it. But nowadays it's just take it on. Let's play the percentage. The percentage is if it goes dead, we have time to reset, but make sure it goes dead. And I think that's what we're seeing nowadays with top teams, the way they're coached as well. And yeah, I just thought they were all. Stephen Tobin from Carrick as well. He got taken off, got brought back on, did his bit for the team as well. Bubbles, I know you've had Bubbles on a few times, lads, as well. Bubbles' nephew was there, Owen O'Dwyer, centre back. I thought he had one of his best games the other day. I really, really did. I thought he stood up, brought out the amount of ball when he had to. I look really going down through the whole lot of them. It just was a phenomenal performance. And I think it has to be mentioned, Austin Duff as well. Austin from Toom, he came on and made a massive difference. Austin had a serious injury, or you might be aware of it, like that he hurt his collarbone, I think, but the injury developed into something more serious, and that the collarbone was going down and going near the heart area as well, and had to get some surgery done as well. So I mean, with the way he has come back from that, it's been a great year for the Toon club as well, with Darren McCarthy scoring that maybe score of the year to win the Munster final for Tipp. And I suppose the way Austin Duff came on the other day and the difference he made, he was a ball of energy when he came on. Killian Cantwell as well. Look, they all of them, lads, they all did brilliant. And look, to the Kilkenny side as well, they were just there's no shortage of talent there either. Obviously we spoke about Jake Mullen there as well, but I think I can't think his first name, the chap at the buggy, he's playing midfield. I think he's one for the future as well. And I think Jack Dollard as well as centre back. I mean, they're just always going to be just really, really talented teams. A lot of them involved with St. Kieran's as well. But yeah, so look, I think there's kind of a love in here with the Tipp lads. Bernie, you're going to have to step in maybe and say something. But
can I just ask you, Shane? You mentioned something earlier, and I didn't want to put in at the time. But you mentioned about being dropped from the Tipp minors when you were of that age. A lot of lads, I'm sure lots of lads have been in the same position. The young lads maybe watching as well, maybe not making a team or not making a squad. It might seem like the be all and end all at the time, but like, what did you go and do to make sure that, okay, I'm going to be a 21 or I'm going to be a senior?
Yeah, look, I at the time, Mick, like I really thought this is it now, because I'm from Ballynahinch. There's not many lads I could really look to for advice to try and make Tipp teams, like, you know what I mean? And I just thought this is it now, because like, who's going to be going to my matches? Who's going to go to my school's matches? Like, when am I ever going to play for Tipp again? And I genuinely thought that day in Thurles, when Penny McCormick from Thurles was the manager, he called me in, called 5 or 6s in, and he said, we're letting you go. And look, I thought that was it. I never get a go again. But then I went home and told him at home, and they're obviously, as parents, like, and as a parent myself, you think, they're wrong, it can't be you must be good enough, they're wrong, and all this, like. And when I look back at it, I probably wasn't good enough at the time. But then I think it was a make or break thing for me, Mick, in regards that I knew physically I wasn't that strong. Maybe depended too much on my hurling as well. So, maybe I worked on that a bit. The gym wasn't a huge thing then. Now I'm talking about like, over 20 years ago, like, but you just try and, small things like, going away working with block layers for the summer or the weekends or days I was off, and definitely helped toughen me up a small bit as well, and physically got me a bit stronger. And then my hurling was able to come on because I was physically maybe able to take a tackle a bit better than what I was before. And as a result of it, then I ended up going on and given 2 years with the 21s, and got my chance then with the seniors when I got it. I think hurling Fitzgibbon was a massive thing for me as well, because I just got exposed for the first time in my career to the likes of Jackie Tyrrell, to the likes of Kieran Freddie Murphy from Cork, to the likes of Irla Tanyan from Galway, and these lads, and just got exposure to them to see that's the level, like, and if you want to get to it. And I've had loads of run-ins with Davey, like, as a manager, I suppose, down through the years, but like what he did for me personally as a player, I said it to him one day I met him, and I'll never be able to kind of repay him, like, because he just kind of gave me confidence, I suppose, and pushed me on to another level to try and make things. And he said it like, if you really want to make it, that's the level. And the level was, you're looking at the likes of Jackie Tyrrell, like. who was physically so strong and stuff like that, and you're going, right, that's it, and that's definitely helped me. But look, to be honest, Mick, that actually made me getting dropped that day from the minors made me as a player, because I just never wanted that kind of feeling again, and I knew that if I wanted to make it, I couldn't keep blaming other people for me not making things. I had to look at myself, and I think maybe that's a lot of young lads maybe where they do fall off. It's that maybe they do blame everyone else except themselves. And as a 17-year-old, it's hard. As a 19-year-old, as a 29-year-old, it's hard. But you just have to say, look, if 5 or 6 people in the management team think I'm not good enough, they can't all be wrong. Like, they can't all be wrong. It must be. There must be something missing here from my game. And I think you can just take that lesson across sport and life, that maybe sometimes the answer is in the mirror. And for me, it was. And they thank, like, I'll always thank them lads for doing that for me as well. And like a funny story actually with the 21s, Seamus Power was the manager. Seamus Power from Borlahan, and I was on the panel. And to be honest, my first dream was 21s lads. I was just delighted to be on the panel. I really, really was. And for the Munster final, we played Cork, and we played Cork. But anyway, what I'm getting to is, anyway, 10-15 minutes into the game, Seamus Power called me down from the stand, and I was going well in training at the time, and I thought, Jesus, this is it. I'm going to play for Tipp. Like, this is magic. Like, this is, the boys were like, go on, McGrath, and all this. So I was making my way down along anyway to the sideline, and Seamus Power says to me, he goes, come here, I want you to do something. I says, whatever, Seamus, whatever it is, I was ready. You go across to the far side, and you do the water. And I just went, I said, I will, yeah, no matter. So anyway, good few of my buddies were at the far side of the field at the time, and for a good few weeks afterwards, just kept calling me Bobby Boucher, the water boy, and I said, what could you do anyway? I'm sure anyway, Seamus Power came up to me afterwards. He just said, I needed someone over there. It was a hot evening, whatever. But look, that again was another learning for me. And then I burst my arse the following few weeks in training.
Has he stalled there for you, Michael?
He has indeed, yeah.
Okay, maybe he'll be able to. He was just in the thick of it there. Hopefully, there's a good end to that story. I feel like there is. But okay, give us the Kilkenny side of it, because I felt that they were using the extra man quite well when it was down one man, just one man. I thought they were moving around nicely, but after half time, thereafter, they didn't. So, what does that come down to as a Kilkenny man?
I think it'd be a fair bit of embarrassment to Kilkenny now over not winning that game. Now, don't get me wrong, there would have been an asterisk beside it if they had won it, even with 14, let alone with 13. But when they had the 2-man advantage, it just didn't look like there was any great plan of, like, put one of them up top if you have to, and draw another Tipperary player in there, and at least have a bit more space out the pitch if you want to shoot from out the pitch. And they were lumping ball in. It didn't look like there was any rhyme or reason to what they were doing at times. And I was amazed because I've seen bits and pieces in other games, and they were a lot better than that. Shano, you were in the middle of a story there, and we're hoping it had a happy ending.
Oh, I think I got as far as Bobby Boucher, I think, maybe, or something.
You got a little bit more. You got a little bit more, but go ahead, take it from there.
Yeah. So that was it, then. Like, that was it. Seamus Power came out to me after that match and just said, look, I needed you to do a job there. But anyway, look, it was fair embarrassed at the time, but look, made the team for the semi-final, made the panel proper. Then we got an awful trouncing by Kilkenny in the under-21 final that year down in Nolan Park, actually. So I get what Woody was saying the other day when a lot of people saying it was a graveyard for us, but look, definitely is not a graveyard for this minor group. But look, these things in life, yeah, I think they'll do one or two things for you, Mick, and we're all sports people here. They'll either drive you on to want to make it, or they'll just say, look, this isn't for me, and look, it just drove me on, I suppose, yeah.
Sure, that's resilience, isn't it? Like, that's what sport is. Like, some people would take that the wrong way, don't get me wrong, and I think particularly in the era we're living in now, people don't like to get setbacks at all, and they think that there's not setbacks in life and everything is rosy, and you always have to make the team and you always have to make the squad. But basically, some of the things I took from you there is a lot of young lads need to go out and spend the summer in the bog, or they need to go out and spend the summer on the sites. You're right though, because it does develop a bit of ignorance, a good type of ignorance that you need when you go hurling. A bit of just you need that bit of hardship. I honestly don't think the current generation have enough hardship and have things far too easy. I think we had nearly too much hardship. But
so look, Mick, I tell you, I'm principal of a primary school at home actually, where I went to school myself, and I'm always telling them, like, you know what I mean. It's, you have to have disappointment, like, because disappointment, it makes you appreciate the good times more, but it also drive you on. And like a small story on that is that we recently, the Coming Months School, they do it brilliant in Tipp. They do it brilliant in all the counties. They do it over 2 days, county finals. And our school got to county final this year. We played Mullinahone, right? And we lost by a point. And the score was 5-13 to 7-8. Okay? And it was one of the best under 13 games I've seen in a long time now, to be honest, just from going watching them or going watching the ones beforehand or afterwards. And I just said to him afterwards, like, I said, I know you're disappointed, like, but you did your best. Like, what more can you do? And it's okay to be disappointed. And, you know, even the following day in school or meeting the parents, like, sure, it's my home place, like, meeting parents saying, like, you know, kids get over quickly. But you know what? Hopefully they'll remember the disappointment, because it'll drive them on to want to do something the next time and the next time and the next time. But the funny side of the story is, lads, you can't beat breeding. So we got bet by Mullinahone, and they scored 7-8. And one guy, I think, maybe scored, I could be wrong now, I don't want to get it too wrong, he maybe scored 7-5, 7-6.
Did his second name begin with K?
It did. And he just gave everything. And it was like looking at his dad, like, you know, he's Conal is his name, like, he's just phenomenal. He's one of the best talents I've ever seen, but you can't beat breeding. And even to watch the, you know, when the match was over and he was just spent, like, you know, and I was going, Genie or some, he's just a great lad now. And I would have known him for the last few years with True Owen and his mum Sarah, and he has a sister as well that's going to be a great player, and he just was unbelievable, so he was. But it was just, you know, you can't beat breeding, you just really can't. And I said afterwards, he goes, geez, where are you going to secondary school next year? And he said, I'm only in 5th class. And I just went, oh no. I said it's going to be another title. But look, he just, look, go back to that disappointment thing. I think it's good for him. Kids need disappointment. I'm always saying to them in school, whether it's in sport or in life, because someday you're going to go for a job and you mightn't get it. And what are you going to do? Turn around to your mommy and daddy, get them to ring the place where you didn't get the job and say, you know, you should give them the job. That's your fault. They need disappointment in life, as we all do, because it makes us appreciate the good times more, and it makes them maybe want to work harder for what they want to do. So, yeah, so there you go. Mullinahone have a couple of good young lads coming as well. So
before we let you go, Shane, just the All-Ireland semi-finals coming up this weekend, Cork, Limerick and Kilkenny Clare. What way are you leaning towards them? And are you excited about these games after the last couple of rounds, which haven't been great?
Yeah, geez, you have to be, I suppose. It's you know, it's probably the best weekend in hurling, really. Like, you know, I mean, obviously we're going to be biased towards the Munster final and stuff like that, but I just think there's so much on the line, Shane, and you'd maybe agree as well, Mick. Like, there's so many big names hurling this weekend that if it doesn't go their way, it could be the end. Like, it really could. Like, and it's across the board with all 4 teams for me. Like, I just think the Kilkenny Clare thing, I really thought Clare, that their best chance to win the Munster, that they really were going to win the Munster final. I really thought they were. They had everyone. Limerick were down to a few lads, and it just didn't happen for them. The last day against Wexford, obviously, you know, they got the job done, albeit not playing brilliant as well. And I just think that if they just, like, they're going up now, it's 3rd year in a row against Kilkenny. Kilkenny just seem to have their number there the last few years. I don't know, Shane. I think it's a hard one to call. I think if Clare don't get it done, if they don't do it, well, then it's going to be, it'll be the end of the road inter-county wise for 5, 6, 7 Clare lads. And that's not retiring them. Just that's the reality of it. It will be like, and that's been mentioned in interviews, even by Shane O'Donnell. Like, he's got things outside of his sporting life, like work and stuff. But I don't know. I just think they can't. I just think they find it hard. They find it hard to perform in Croke Park. They haven't done it for some time, and I just think Kilkenny they're just unreal, lads. You know what I mean? I made an absolutely ridiculous comment there. I think it was last year. I didn't have them in my top 5, and now they've won 5 in a row Leinster titles. They're looking to be in another All-Ireland final, and this supposedly isn't even one of their best group of players. So I just think Kilkenny will. I do feel Kilkenny will get the job done. The other side of it is, if Limerick and Cork, like, Cork are coming in, they've got the lifeline. I thought they weren't hurling well, and then you hear that they had this bug in the camp, even there with some of them for the Offaly game, and some of them very, very sick for the quarter final against Dublin. Because I was kind of like bemused by their performance. To be honest, I was like going, I was down there that night that they played Limerick, and they were immense. And even it was in Thurles today, they absolutely annihilated Tipp, and then it just slowly seemed to derail or come down. But obviously you don't know what's going on in camps, and obviously them lads being sick is a thing. But I said it after the most final, and I'm going to reiterate it now, that I went against Limerick, and I'm never ever doing it again. They're just awesome. They're just unbelievable. I'm hearing
Shane,
that
it could be worse. The man on the other side here went against Limerick in the 2021 All-Ireland final, and see how that worked out. So it could be worse.
We've all dirtied our bibs at different times. Shane, you have 5 more minutes. Do you have 5 minutes? Quick.
Yeah. The pool is open till 8 or 9 o'clock here. We're all good.
Just a quick Q&A with you, Shane. I'm feeling we'll get a few colourful answers. Who's your favourite player of all time?
Oh, my favourite player of all time is actually Jerry O'Connor from Cork.
Right, okay.
Sorry, just the reason is, lads, I loved watching him. And then my first couple of years got to mark him, and just watching him in real life. It's just class. So he's my favourite player ever.
Yeah, and
current player? The current player, that's probably Keane Lynch. I just think he's magic.
First game you can ever remember playing in?
First game I remember playing is I was 8 years of age, playing not as young as Bubbles was. Bubbles said he was 3. I was 8. Playing under 12 match, and just having the worst black micro helmet. Gerald Loughlin, Sparrow Loughlin type.
The astronaut one. Yeah.
Flat head on it.
Yeah. It was. I was so small.
The flat head or the circular head? Was the big square or the big circle?
The big circular ones were kind of coming on the market at the time, but it was so big. I was so small and skinny, and my body was weighing over like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Who's the best man you've ever been in a dressing room to give a pre-game speech?
Kelly, Owen.
All passion.
Just said what needed to be said and never said any more, and just grabbed your attention. You knew when he spoke it was going to be good, but he wouldn't say it if he didn't feel it had to be said. I think that's kind of a hallmark of all the great captains.
What's a player from another sport that you admire?
I love golf, lads. I'm kind of obsessed with the golf there, even since I stopped playing with Tipp, and I just love. I think obviously our own lads, Shane Lowry, McIlroy, Padraig Harrington as well. Even listening to him speak, but just watching Scheffler. I think any man, if you put it in context like that, if a GA player got arrested and then went out and won man of the match later that day, I think it's unbelievable the level he's at. I just think the golf. There's amateur lads now that are constantly in contention in top 10, top 20 in professional tournaments. I just think that's the level golf's got to now with everything that's there, and lads coming out of college. And I just think Scheffler he's just immense watching him. Obviously, loved watching Tiger as well, but at the moment, it's just Scheffler is unbelievable. Yeah.
Who's a manager from another sport you'd admire?
From another sport, sure, Pep Guardiola. He's
a United fan.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard saying good about that at the moment. Really, I suppose Ten Hag is doing a great job. Hopefully, he will still be there. He's going to change a few coaches, and you have to get rid of a few players and stuff like that. But sure, what Pep is doing, it's Paul Kinnerk is the Pep of GAA, really, isn't he? But Pep has transformed the game, and I know people keep saying that would he do it with Luton or someone, or do you know what? He'd do something with them, and he'd get them to a level, because his knowledge of the game, watching stuff about him, documentaries about him, reading stuff about him, the way he thinks, and even having ex-players when they're on Monday Night Football and something, and the way they think, like that we need, we do this because this is going to happen as a result of it. And I've rarely heard a player he's coached speak ill of him, so he'd be a fella, yeah.
Toughest opponent, and why?
Mick Fennelly, without doubt. Why? Sure, look, I think that speaks for itself, really. Like, I mean, the inter-county game is full of McFinleys now. And what I'm talking about is guys who are 6'4", 6'5", could hurl, did it when it mattered most, physically could hit you. But just, I think McFinley, lads, he was out on his own for a few years as regards the size of him, but his hurling ability, I think his hurling ability, he doesn't get the credit for the hurling ability he had because he was such a monster of a man. And just the hurleys he used as well for the throw-ins. I've told this story a few times, but maybe some of your listeners haven't heard it. But like, I suppose we just got to know each other between meeting each other with league finals, All-Ireland finals for a period there of maybe 5 or 6 years. And there was one guy from Kilkenny, and his sole job was to bring in Mick Fenley's good hurley after the throw-in. And your head would be in the zone to play and hurl, and you feel that you tried to do that as much as you could. But I just remember looking down before the throw-in one day, and Mick Fenley had this hurley, lads, and it was covered in cow shit and everything. I said, and you actually wouldn't use it to bait cattle. Like, it was so bad looking, and I was like going, is he going to hurl the match with this? Like, no, for a split second for the ball straight. But sure, he just had it pull he did, and there's me with my hurley with the grips put on by a man from Newport called the great Jimmy Ryan. He used to go down to him the night before, or 2 days before. He put on the grips for me, perfect, and I'd have the boss sanded and everything. And next thing I look down at this fella's hurley, and I'm like, maybe I'm doing it all wrong, am I? And so Mick Fenley's the toughest opponent, hurling wise, and just when the need was most, he was brilliant for Kilkenny. And I love the battles I had with him. I remember he hit me his shoulder in 2011. He nearly drove me into the upper tier of the Davin stand after it. It was just one of those dunts, and you're shook. You're so shook after it, but all you can do is try and get up straight away. But you would be shook after it. But he's phenomenal. Yeah, kind of a long-winded answer there, Shane. Sorry.
No. Team you most like to beat?
Yeah, like to beat now, or?
Nah, come on now. We know what the answer is, so you might as well just say it.
Sure. Sure. I suppose where I'm living, it has to be Limerick.
Yeah. Who was the joker on the Tipp panel when you were there? Besides yourself, I presume.
Yeah, no, I would have been good old crack. Foxy was the man. Foxy and I think those types of players, like Foxy's a phenomenal talent. Like, I mean, people might realise Foxy played soccer for Ireland. Like, Foxy lost an All-Ireland failing the Gale skills contest by 1 point to a fellow from Kilkenny called James Cha Fitzpatrick. So Foxy had it all. Like, he was a multi-talented footballer and everything. But the value he brought to the panel is that obviously he's hurling, he's there first and foremost. But the types of guys like Foxy, they just give everyone a lift when on the down days or things aren't going well, and you just looked over and you just had to look at Foxy and see the glint in his eye. By geez, lads, sports psychologists and all these people, the likes of the Foxys of this world, they're invaluable. They're invaluable to hurling panels, to sports panels. And but Foxy was, he was the guy we'd all look to get the crack going. And you know what? 99.9% of the time, he always delivered as well.
It's gas. Jamie Callan said the exact same at a live show we did recently, and he said he'd absolutely kill you out in the pitch, and he'd be up to all sorts. God. And then once it was over, and it was just having a laugh again nearly straight away.
We always used to joke, Mick, that himself and Kelly be marking each other in training. And if you want to know what type of hurley either lad was using, you just have to look at the other lad's legs or arms to see the imprint of it on it. But that was it. It was always left on the field. But that was Foxy. He when he was on, he was on. But he was just invaluable to our panel, to our group. He was brilliant around the place.
Yeah, a few people wondering who Foxy is. That's Conor O'Brien.
Sorry.
And of course, obviously, he was part of the Tipperary coaching team with the minors at the weekend.
Yeah.
Who was the best trainer?
The best to train.
The best to train, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say Bonner, but I mean, I tell you, the way Brendan Maher, and I lived with Brendan in Limerick for a while, and to be honest, some of the best hurling I ever did was because I was living with Brendan. The way Brendan prepared, the way Brendan trained, the way he minded himself. Brendan Maher, for me, is one of the most professional GA lads I've ever come across. I know there's guys in other panels, but I'm just saying, from actually living with him and seeing the way he prepared himself and seeing what he did, like Jesus Christ. There was a stage there where he was like nearly like a disappointed parent looking at me if I was putting a bit of ketchup on the steamed vegetables he was after making. Like, he was like, come on now, that's not good enough. I'm like, okay. But that's, look, Shane, you know him very, very well. That's the level that guy goes to. You know, you sometimes you laugh at people saying Brendan Maher's so good all the time, he's so consistent. He's so good all the time and so consistent because of what he does away from the field and when he's training. So for me, Brendan Maher, yeah, one of the best lads I ever seen to train. Yeah.
The Offaly lads absolutely rave about him at the minute. Like, he's with what he's doing, even training wise, and I believe he's fairly hands on as well. But they absolutely love him. So he's rubbing off. You might like to hear it, but he's rubbing off well on our lads. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, you've great setup. Yeah.
River Power asks, is it true that Brendan Cummins was faster than Lara Corbett?
It depends, maybe across the end line, but I mean, if it's out to a ball 20 yards away, I'd probably still back Larry to get there. Yeah.
Who was the best dressed and the worst dressed on the panel?
The best dressed on the panel, Benny Dunn, was the slickest man. He wore gear like an Italian model. That's the way he just wore the GA gear so well. And the worst dressed on the panel, Jeannie, there could be a few there now that would fall into that category. I suppose I wouldn't say worst dressed. I just think maybe didn't really care. Paul Curran would just throw it on and he'd go for it. But again, he had the rugged handsomeness to kind of get away with it, like, you know.
Who loved the media attention on the panel? And obviously this is a bit of mess more than anything else.
From Jesus. She used to always send me for the interviews anyway, because he just felt just let him off, whatever. Like, but I never minded it, to be honest, lads. I don't think it did me too much harm either, to be honest. I was reading there at the weekend one of the Donegal wing backs. Did he score 5 points from play? Yeah. And John Fogarty was saying he did an interview during the week. It didn't do him any harm. I think it's gone the other way in that regard. If we want to promote the games, you'd love to see these lads out there. But I tell you what, lads, if these lads were let out there, they're so educated. They know exactly what to say and not to say. They'd be absolutely brilliant, and they'd give you a few great one-liners. But that's just the way it is. Nobody wants to give away anything. So who loved the media the most? I didn't mind it. Mahoney was always brilliant. Conor Mahoney was brilliant at the media because he would say loads without saying anything at all, and he was brilliant at it. And he always got sent as well because they knew, all the managements knew they could rely on him just to give the party answer. So I suppose a lot of the Tipp lads watching this would say I didn't mind it too much anyway.
Who's the most famous person that follows you online?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Michael Verney there.
Appreciate that one, Shane.
What's your proudest day ever playing GA?
Proudest day ever playing GA? You know, probably the first day I played for Tipp. I know the winning things is nice, but the first day I ever played senior for Tipp, that's probably it. Like, just for all the reasons like that. Like, no one from my place played Tipp senior championship. There would have been a couple of guys maybe involved in panels, but to actually be on the team.
Shane? Are you the only one still at the minute?
To actually play on the team, Mick, yeah. To be on, a couple of guys now would have went before, like say Mike Ryan Baughan would have been involved with panels before, but like say to actually play on the team, So that was a great day, like, and Babs Keaton was the manager at the time, you know, and I know people say a lot about Babs and stuff like that, the way he did things. Maybe it wasn't the right way. He just didn't come into the modern era of hurling. Maybe he was still back in the 90s with some of the things he was doing, but he made an awful big deal about that for me personally, and you know, I'll always appreciate that, what he did. I suppose he was coming from a club, Ballybacon, at the time when he was playing for Tipp, that maybe not a lot of people had played either. So yeah, that was my proudest day.
Yeah. Biggest disappointment?
The 2009 Ireland final, without doubt. Still to this day would hurt. Just felt, and I was just, you know, I know you spoke about Micheál Hurtig lads at length, and everyone has wrote about him and spoke their bits about him. But he, I suppose, got to meet him in latter years because I've been doing the radio for All Ireland and stuff, and he would have been at them. But where I'm going with this is that he came into us in the dressing room after 2010, said that was his last match and that was the best game of hurling he ever commentated on. I found it hard to believe at the time. Maybe it was just the emotion of it for him. But I met him in a few years ago at the All-Ireland final, and I asked him, and he said, yeah, it was just for everything that the occasion was, the 5 in a row that Kilkenny were going for, and etc., etc. But for me, like, the best hurling match ever was 2009 All-Ireland final, and just from being involved in it. And I felt that we all performed that day. Like, we won to 19 or 20 lads, both sides. It was just an unbelievable game of hurling. The hits, the scores, the saves from PJ Ryan, you know, just what was going on all around the field, and to come out the wrong side of it. Your own county man, Mick Fernie, didn't do us any great favours that day, Mr. Kerwin, but we'll move on. We won't blame. We can't keep blaming him for that, because at the end of the day, Mick Martin coming for the Gurta came on, scored that goal, and that was the nail in the coffin. But yeah, that for me, lads, is the biggest disappointment in my sporting career, because I felt we just gave it everything and we just came up short. And you know what, lads, the hurt from that got us over the line in 2010. I know we got the goals, but that's what drove us on. And I'm just wondering, is that going to be a factor at the weekend for the likes of Clare and maybe the Cork lads? I think you have to use these things. You have to put them up on a screen. You know, I mean, I have it ingrained in my mind. You know, that image of Paddy just bawling his eyes out, crying on the field afterwards, and even how we all were in the Burlington afterwards. Jeez, I was a wreck. Like, so I was, you know, I was bawling. I was like a small child. If one of my kids did it here, you'd be embarrassed about him in public. You know, but I think that drove us on to do what we did maybe the following year, and then we had the players back it up. So I think, if I was Brian Lohan or if I was Pat Ryan, I'd definitely be using hurt as a massive motivating factor for this weekend anyway.
Well, that's a very good, I suppose, note to finish it off on, Shane. Really appreciate it. A lot of really good, positive comments about your contribution today. So thanks very much.
Lads, look, just before I go, lads, like, obviously you're doing great stuff, lads. I love listening to you. Obviously work with RT there as well, but I love listening to you and the stuff that you're doing. I often use it in my own commentaries there as well, or my own articles there as well. So I know there's a lot of, I'll use the word shit that goes online about what people are trying to do, but I just want to say to you, keep up the great work, and love doing what you're doing, and we're really looking forward on a different sporting context. France are playing Belgium here, and we're on a big, huge campsite here, and I just tell you, lads, the amount of young lads running around in Belgium jerseys, and I don't know the rivalry between France and Belgium, but they have it on a big screen, and I'm just really looking forward to taking small fella down to there at 5 or 6 o'clock this evening. So it's great. Sport is great, no matter where you are in the world, to see it, like whatever it might be. But yeah, just keep up the great work, boys, and enjoy next weekend. I might see you up in Crow Park. All right.
Thanks very much. We'll see you again soon. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.